How's it going, guys? Welcome back to the channel. On this upload, I want to take you guys through the 1 month update of my new 4xe Wrangler. So in the past, check out a couple of the other videos I did. I did a video the day that we got the Jeep. Then I did a video a few days later of a 72-hour review with just some of the initial things that I noticed that I wanted to point out to you guys. So now it's been just a little bit over 1 month, actually. I don't know, 32, 33 days. So we haven't gotten to put a whole lot of miles on it yet. I think we're at about 900 miles. My wife's been driving it more than me. But I just want to take you guys through a couple of the other little things. There's also been a lot of questions. I wanted to go ahead and try to answer a few of those for you guys. Now, one of the weirdest things I didn't get to touch on before that I want to point out to you guys is watching it remote start. So that's it. It started. But we don't hear the traditional, engine cranking noise. So this is something that even a month later, if I'm in a parking lot somewhere and I go to start the thing and you hear the double beep, which, I've been hearing for the past decade or so with all my FCA, Chrysler products. And it's just weird that, it started, it's running, that's it. Electric's on, all that good stuff. Now, if this is your first Jeep or maybe your first Chrysler product in a long time, you may not have heard of the Uconnect app. And even though I've had, I've had a bunch of Rams over the last 10 years, and this is the second Wrangler, I still never really used the Uconnect app until we got this one. So let me kind of run you through it because it's pretty awesome. So with this app, we can basically check, we can perform a lot of functions. We can lock the vehicle, unlock the vehicle remotely, remote start it, all that good stuff. And this technology has been around for a long time, but it's just kind of cool to have it on the Jeep. Also, you can set it up to get notifications. Like, for example, if my wife, plugs it in, all of a sudden I'll get a little message saying Jeep has been plugged in, and then it also tells you how long you have to fully charge it. So it's pretty cool information. So if you're just kind of at a glance, thinking, okay, maybe I want to leave, is the Jeep fully charged? Is it topped off? So right now, obviously, it's unplugged because it's here. But if we did plug it into our level 1, we've got 16 hours and then 2.5 hours if we have a level 2 charger. So it's pretty cool. Shows you the miles, all that good stuff. I mean, everything's just kind of right here. It's pretty convenient. If you just thought about something like, oh, how many miles do I have? You can pull all this up, get all this information right at your fingertips. Freaking technology. It's pretty awesome. Now, over the last month of doing a few different videos for you guys, I've gotten a lot of questions about the mileage and range, and a lot of guys are getting confused on all that. So let me kind of clarify the easiest way I think we can make it. So basically, without the electric motor, like once our electric motor, is zero, right, which we know that really there's still a little bit of juice left. They're just not letting us use it in pure electric mode. But let's just say that once our range runs out, that 25, 30 miles, and we're operating in hybrid mode, which is basically your gas motor, it's really pretty much the same as a turbocharged, regular 2-liter Wrangler. So you're maybe getting a little bit better mileage because the engine will do the stop start a little bit more than it would in a regular Wrangler. But for example, on my Jeep with 35s, it's showing right now we're getting about 21 miles per gallon average. And again, that's a lot of like city driving, start, stop. So this would be a little bit better on the expressway. I want to say we've seen around 30 or 23 is what it shows. So again, this is kind of your gas engine. That's all this is. So say 23 miles per gallon, if you do a lot of expressway driving, maybe it's a little bit better, 25 miles per gallon. That's all you're getting. That's it. That's the normal stuff. Now, where this thing really shines and really why you would want to use this or buy this vehicle is because of that 25 miles of pure electric. Now, if you drive, 60 or 80 miles to work, okay, then maybe this doesn't make sense for you. But for us, for example, this is my wife's kind of main driver, and all she's doing is driving a few miles to go drop the kids, to go to the gym, to go grocery shopping, stuff like that. So it's a lot of really close trips, and for us, we can do that purely electric. And so, pretty rarely, at least during the week, Monday through Friday, rarely does she go over, say, the 25, 30 miles. Now, right now, we only have a level 1 charger, and it takes, 15, 16 hours to charge it. But we already did order a level 2 charger. That's also something I want to talk to you guys about, is the proposition for a level 2 charger definitely makes sense. In my earlier videos, I was thinking, man, this thing's like $700, doesn't make sense. But check around with your local utility companies, because here in Michigan, I found out that DTE, our local energy company, they actually, you can only buy like the ChargePoint charger or one other one, but which costs $700, but they give you a $500 rebate. So all you have to do is show proof of purchase, you show proof of your vehicle purchase or lease, and boom, they give you $500. So that's pretty awesome. And then on top of that, the federal government gives you a 30% rebate back at tax time up to $1,000. And that also includes, I think, some of the installation if you need to have 220 actually installed in your garage. Luckily for us, I already have 220 for my welder, and so I made sure from ChargePoint I bought the same plug, and I'm able, when that thing finally gets here, because it's back ordered, once it gets here though, I can just plug that thing in. It's going to be awesome. I'm going to be able to recharge the Jeep and basically double my miles at least. So for example, 9 in the morning, my wife leaves, it's fully charged, she goes to drop the kids, go to the gym, we come back, we can charge the thing again for another, say, hour. It's going to be fully charged, and so now we're ready to go another 25 miles. And same thing, if now we got to run to the grocery store, say it's 15 miles, we get back, we charge it an hour, we go to pick the kids up from school at 4 o'clock, we've got another 25 miles. So we may be able to get 50, 60, 70 miles in a day if we want to, right? And that's kind of the magic of this whole EV thing, right? Because for us, we may be able to go 1,000 miles on a tank, and there's already guys that we've seen posting on the some of the Jeep Wrangler 4xe like Facebook pages where guys are getting 800 to 1,000 miles on a tank, and it's because of operating in pure EV. So obviously they're not getting that with the gas engine. They're basically just treating it as an EV and trying to drive within that range per day, right? And that's extending the life of the gas. So hopefully that makes sense. But one thing that FCA and other manufacturers do is they were calling for the Jeep getting something like 52 miles per gallon, or MPGe, right? Which, what that is, that's not really like a real number. It's kind of like when you mix in the electric portion, it's like the equivalent to a gas engine, but it's not equivalent because it just depends how you drive, right? If you're someone who can't really take advantage of that 25 miles and say you have to drive 100 miles a day, well, 75 miles of that commute is going to be in gas mode, right? You're only getting that kind of 25% increase in fuel economy. Whereas someone like us, where we can drive 100% per day in EV, it's a way bigger value proposition, right? It makes way more sense for us than it does for someone who has to drive really, really far, right? In that case, you need to get a Tesla, bro, so you can get 400 miles to the electric tank, right? So one other thing you guys had asked me about was I'd posted in one of the previous videos with the Jeep kind of up on a hill for clearance of the 35s, and I'm a dummy, I didn't even have the sway bar disconnected just because I'm a newbie when it comes to having a Rubicon. Before I had a Sport, so we didn't have an option to do the sway bar disconnect. So right now I've actually got it in 4 low. I've got the sway bar disconnecting, and I'm going to try to do the same thing and just kind of show you guys and see what the difference is, if any, with clearance on these 35s. So here she is again with the sway bar disconnected in the front. So I think you can see now it's you can definitely tell versus last time it's a lot more tucked up in there. But obviously there's still no issue with the front. Again, I think the main issue, if anything, would be this back on the other side. Let me get around. So yeah, I mean, it still basically looks the same. It looks like if you're gonna hit, it's gonna be here, but that's about it. One other cool feature I wanted to point out with the Jeep is if you come into the apps and you go into hybrid electric, it actually gives you a graph, which I'm not sure how clearly that's showing up here with my lighting, but basically what this shows is there's some green that shows you how far you went on pure EV, and then yellow, which is how far you went on the engine. So for us, for the last week, we didn't go very far, just because we've had some work done at the house, and so we weren't able to plug the Jeep in. But it's pretty cool stuff to see. It's kind of like a little game, right? You can kind of track, okay, how far am I getting? But we actually have our level 2 ChargePoint charger supposed to arrive today. And so I'm hoping that in the next week, that's going to kind of dramatically improve our charging. Because again, we should be able to maybe double this miles, like of 25, we should be able to double that into 50. So that's going to be pretty awesome. Besides that, there's some cool kind of power flow meters. one important thing for you guys is the charging schedule. So, for example, my utility company charges kind of the best rate is like, I don't know, I forget, 11 p.m. to like 7 a.m. is going to be the cheapest electric rate. So what you can do is actually set the schedule. So even if you come out here at say 7 p.m. and you plug the Jeep in, if you tell the Jeep here not to actually start charging till say 11:01 p.m., it'll do that. So it'll only charge between those hours that you set, so that way you can get the best cost for the electricity. So that's pretty sweet. Now I think a lot of the chargers, like the smart chargers, like the charge point that I'm actually getting, can do that as well. But if you buy a cheaper charger, like there are actually some chargers out there like on Amazon that are only $200 or $300, but they don't have that smart charging feature. But you don't need it because you can just get it with the Jeep. So that's a pretty important feature to have. So one other thing I noticed is as the Jeep is kind of learning our driving habits, and I think what the actual kind of range we're getting is, it's been changing what the mileage is. So you can see that we're not even at 100% battery, but it's saying, hey, we think you can get 24 miles. And I noticed the other day, the last time I was in it a couple days ago, we were close to 100%, and it was showing something like 28 or 29 miles is what it was expecting. So this was much higher. I know when we first got the Jeep, it was just showing kind of the average about 25 miles, and now it seems to be getting a little bit better. So that's pretty cool. You know, and remember too, our speedometer's off because of the 35s, and we have 35, so we've got some increased rolling mass there. So, you know, so if we do get say 24, 25, it's probably an extra mile or two farther than that, factoring in the 5% difference. So pretty cool stuff. All right, guys, let's go for a ride. It's just so cool being electric mode, how quiet it is. Go over this little hill here. It's probably gonna suck in about 50,000 miles when all you can hear is the vibrations and crackling plastic from all the interior coming loose. But right now it's really cool. So one thing I want to try to show you guys right now is the launch of the Jeep. So I'm actually going to go ahead and try to set up my tripod real quick. And this time I'm going to put it into four-wheel drive without traction control, rev the engine up, and I've seen that a few guys are posting on the Facebook groups that they're getting 5-second or close to 5-second 0 to 60 time. So I'm going to kind of give that a shot and just get a view of the Jeep from the outside to see what this looks like. I did experiment with this the other day, and I could not get the you know, the blistering smoky tire burnout that some of the guys were posting, and probably it's because we've got 35s. It's just not going to happen. I was pretty sad about it, but let's give it a shot. Let me show you what it looks like from the outside. All right, guys, so we are in four-wheel drive auto, traction control's off, and what we've got to do is brake torque this thing, let her get up, and holy crap, it hustles. And I just did this a minute ago just with the stopwatch on my phone, and it was showing about 6.1 seconds. Yes, 6.1 seconds with 35s in a freaking Jeep Wrangler. I mean, there's a stark difference between having it in two-wheel drive and trying to do this versus four-wheel drive. So it seems like with two-wheel drive, the computer is really limiting things, and it's almost like it just won't give full power. You can tell it's limiting power, but in four-wheel drive, it lets you have all the bald eagles. All right, guys, sorry for all the sun. It's actually going to be a beautiful 70-degree day here in Michigan, which is pretty awesome. But kind of the final thing I wanted to talk about, I see a lot of guys on the Facebook groups talking about, you know, always driving around with the max regen button on. And, you know, in the last month, I still am not getting used to the max regen function. When you turn this thing on, you know, everything's fine when you're hitting the throttle, giving it gas. But as soon as you let off, you just get that real sudden deceleration happening, and it's honestly annoying. So, you know, I get it. You know, if I'm going on a long trip, I'll keep it on, I guess, just to help keep the, you know, keep the battery topped off or charge it back. But it's just weird. You know, and the faster you go, like if you're going 70 and you let off, and it just almost starts to come to a stop, you know, all by itself. It's really weird. So I don't know, I'm not used to that. Some other things that my wife told me that she doesn't like is as it switches or transitions from electric to gas, she doesn't like how some of that feels. I don't really notice that same thing. You know, I think that it is what it is, right? Having a hybrid, we are going to have to transition from, you know, electric mode to gas mode and back. And so you're going to hear, you know, the sound of the gas engine starting. And sometimes when the gas engine starts and it's cold, the gas engine's very loud, right? It's revving up to 2,000 RPM so it can start to warm up and then idle back down. So I don't really see that as being an issue. I think that just comes with having a hybrid. That's stuff you'll get used to. Everyone's a little bit different, so I think for some people, you know, maybe that'll be more of an issue than for others, right? But again, for me, I don't think that's a problem. But, you know, otherwise, my review still hasn't changed since we got this thing. It's freaking awesome. I mean, forget the whole fuel economy thing aside, this thing is fast as hell. I mean, 375 horsepower, especially now that we know how to launch it right, four-wheel drive with traction control off and brake torque it. This thing freaking rips. I bet you it would give a 392 a run for the money out of the gate. I'm telling you guys, it is pretty freaking serious. So, super happy with it. I mean, besides a Jeep Wrangler, you can't get much more American than that, besides maybe a Corvette. But then you got to deal with some midlife crisis stuff, you know? But having a Jeep Wrangler, when I'm driving this thing, it's freaking bright yellow. We've got the American flag grille insert in the front. You can have the top down. You can have doors off. I mean, it just spells freaking freedom, guys. So anyway, that's going to be it for this one. Hope you enjoyed the review. Click that like button. Hit the subscribe button. We'll see you on the next one. Take care, guys. All right, guys, check this shit out. Four-wheel drive with the traction control off. Brake torque it. Holy fuck. Dude, it throws you back so hard.